यार देखो हेल्दी वाला एंगल ना अल्कोहल के साथ लगाना इज बिकमिंग वेरी कूल these days.
नहीं अब जैसे वाइन का ट्रेंड है, अब मैं बाकी अल्कोहल पे नहीं जाऊंगा, सिंस इट्स अ कॉमन ड्रिंक इन यूरोप, सो दे काइंड ऑफ स्टार्ट फीडिंग इट टू बेबीज 5-6 साल की उम्र से.
That's I think wrong. Yeah, anything intoxication.
I think they kind of tend to get them into that business, and it's very common.
So see, one has to understand there is a culture for it. Right? Like I remember when we were reading about wines or the grapes, in fact there was this French, in fact Czech Republic ki thi wo. She was a sommelier. She was assigned to our hotel for about a year and a half, and we were working very closely. So one has to understand, I think, their culture is as such that they've grown up looking at wines around them. But I think it completely depends on what you are, what do you want to be. And there are a lot of people who know a lot about wines without having the fancy titles of sommeliers, like we are showing off right now, sommelier. There are a lot of people who know about wines. So I think it's all about knowledge more than anything else. And I think moderate quantities, right time is the right way to go for it.
So what's the benchmark of a good wine?
यार वो खराब नहीं होनी चाहिए बस.
आपके हिसाब से कोई एक standard brand that is the benchmark for you, that you feel is the right taste, right feel, and it's just
lot of them. No, depending on the occasions, lot of them. As I said, like a good bubbly, or a sparkling wine or a prosecco is something that I can have anytime. Right. Champagne ke liye I need an occasion or a right kind of champagne. Serious wines, you need something around it, because that's when you're drinking. There has to be an occasion for it, I feel. Right. Or sometimes the wine creates an occasion because you're opening that particular bottle.
Right. So, well, what are the serious aspects of being a sommelier? I mean, people tend to think of it's fun, but tell us why people should rather not think of it as fun and as a serious business.
Yeah, serious business to hai. Matlab, to be very honest, it's not a. See, I'll give you the serious night of the wine thing. You are in a hotel. If you are a sommelier, Indian hotels still okay. But there's a friend of mine who's working in a beautiful hotel in Maldives, a resort. The guy is maintaining an inventory of nothing less than, I think, about 18 to 20 crores at a given point of time. That's the amount or the value of the wines that is there in the cellar. Yeah. And the idea of the business is to move, right? If the wines are moving, they're creating business and stuff. Couple of good wrong choices can really make or break the business. So you have to be very careful on what you're doing. And then you have to look at the beverage cost. And a lot of times people ask me why the wine is so expensive in India or in the hotels. There's a beverage cost to it, right? You're sitting in a beautiful hotel, a beautiful glass of wine. The glass itself is about 4,000, 10,000 rupees a glass, or it's 10. If you're drinking, of course, it has to be expensive. So I think one has to understand a lot, in-depth knowledge is something that one has to have in order to control that entire system. So it is a serious job. It's not a joke. As I said, even Delhi hotels, Bombay hotels would maintain at least about 3.5 CR inventory. And then that is something which is giving you the experience, right? If you're having, let's say, a pasta, and I give you a wrong wine with it. Wine in itself is good, the pasta in itself is good. But if it's galat saath mein aa gaya na, it can be a disastrous meal for you. So then you won't go back and say, yeah, वो wine अच्छी नहीं थी. तो आप बोलोगे कि वो experience उस hotel में अच्छा नहीं. That the food in the hotel is not that good, or we didn't enjoy it as much. But again, sometimes the combination is like, people ask me what is the best food and beverage combination, right? I'm like, chole bhature and lassi is the best combination, right? It's just a no-brainer. Barish pad rahi hai, pakode and chai is a no-brainer. Like, that's how we have grown up. Think of that as the heavenly combination. Individually, they might be good, but I think when they come together, it's a synergies.
That's when the magic happens.
That's when the magic happens. So when you're combining a food and a wine together, and if there is some kind of magic that's happening in that space, I think that is when you achieve. So as a sommelier, you're very you're supposed to be sure of the fact कि आप क्या दे रहे हो और किसके साथ दे रहे हो. And that can only happen when you understand and you know about the wines inside.
And what